This is going to be the fifth of 8 best of fives in the round of 16. And much like we saw yesterday with Brazil and China, the best teams in each country have to determine who moves on to represent them. Nili, what do you think of Vietnam B and their chances here? Because I think a couple years ago, there would have never been a real challenger for ACCM and back.
Yeah, we can do a bit like good caster, bad caster, and I will talk them down and you can talk them up.
Okay.
I think that they had a good set against USA, and a lot of people might be confused by their performance against Norway. But we have to say that Norway was heavily trolling. And if we look at game number 5 of Norway against Vietnam B, and it is a huge achievement to get into game number 5, that one looked like a complete clapping there. So there surely is still a huge gap to the top teams.
Yeah.
The question is, how good is the shape of Bacti and ACM?
Yeah, okay. No, I agree with you that I think ACCM and backed heavily favored. They've been around the scene for so long, and I think ACCM is much stronger now than he might have been last year. But I think for what's really interesting about the series is how you normally expect the top teams, use Norway as an example, to be really good on the Arabia-like maps, right? The maps where you have one person going scouts, one person going archers. But that's actually Vietnam B, at least based on their home map picks. And we've had, I think, Scandinavia and Arena picked as home maps for backed in ACCM, so that's a bit of a surprise. But yeah, to play good cop, bad cop, I guess, or caster as we're doing, I think back to that Golden Pit game where I did not see a lot of trolling at all from Norway. And Vietnam B did beat them and played very well. So yeah, I'm curious. You're definitely right. I didn't see game 1 in that set because I was busy playing my games on that weekend. But I know that game 1 was a pretty wacky start from Norway, and they weren't taking it too seriously.
Yeah, that Golden Pit game, probably no excuses. I'm pretty sure Norway played 100% there.
Yeah.
Vietnam B took a game, so that was absolutely crazy. Oh man, could be a great set. And you also said like ACM improved heavily. I think he's a full-time Age of Empires 2 content creator now for several months, I would say.
Yeah. I mean, time investment definitely helps, right? So we'll see, man. Well, I'll introduce the players here. We have Song, someone who recently returned to the game. A lot of people don't know that. He was around back in the Voobly days. He's playing Indians. And then we have Bad Boy, who's here in the red, playing as the Britons. Expect to see scouts, expect to see archers. I don't think they'll deviate from that too much. And then ACCM is in the blue. He's playing Ethiopians. I've been looking at Ethiopians a lot in the early stages of these games, Nili, because we've seen a lot of Drush Fast Castle from certain players. And then it is Franks for back. Very good civs for both teams.
Yeah, and, well, it is kind of interesting, right? Where do you distribute your strong civilizations? And I personally think on Arabia, civilizations kind of, it sounds super weird, matter less than compared to, say, something like Team Islands, Scandinavia, Arena, and all the crazy maps, Chaos Pit, where the balance isn't really there, right? Most of the time we try to balance civilizations, but people really feel, okay, even if this gap between the civs is small, I still want to have the strongest civs on Arabia.
Yeah. Now, I had said something, and here's that early barracks for ACCM. Also, Bad Boy denies it and spots it, which is a big deal. I had said before I hopped in with you that whoever wins Arabia in this series, I feel wins the series. And that might, that might be the case in a lot of them. But the reason I think that is because if Vietnam B cannot win on Arabia, they're unlikely to get wins on their home maps, which are Arabia-like. If they win on Arabia, that shows that I feel they have what it takes to win on those other maps if they get there. So we'll see, man. But yeah, you're right. You've kind of got a lot more options on something like Arabia than Arena. Arena, you're going for the more boomy civilizations. You don't have the potential that you do on a more open map.
But we have to talk about Arena because Bacti and ACM, they went for the very early Cumans there. Pick number 3, something we very rarely see, and instantly sniped, which was a big surprise to me.
Yeah, exactly. I'm so fascinated by this. I asked Song what he thought about his chances here, and he said something like, we play good, but Viet A will be hard. So I think Vietnam B will recognize how good Vietnam A are. And here comes that Drush for ACCM. This reminds me of Gal yesterday for Brazil A. This reminds me of what Barles has been doing a lot or was doing a lot for Poland in the tournament is Drush Fast Castle. I don't think it was part of Bad Boy's plan to do it himself, but after scouting that Nilly, he's adding his own militia here.
Yeah, 6 on wood there, so that's not going to be a drush into any Archer Rangers in Feudal Age. That's going to be a drush FC by Bad Boy as well. And, well, his scout a bit out of position.
Yeah, Scout's out of position. Fortunately, ACCM Scout's weak because he took some damage from the town centers. You have Song about to reach Feudal Age. You have the same for Backed. We will have Scouts there. And Song could maybe get a lead with the Scout engagement over there. But big thing we have to focus on is if the Drushes do any damage.
Unlikely, right? He should know where they're coming. Now should see, okay, some ostrich is dying. So that's already, well, quite annoying.
He's actually leaving his base right now, Bad Boy. It's just, I mean, it's unlikely that they'll hit the gold or hit the wood line, but the berries could still be harassed. This is really weird. Why is he leaving his base? Does he think it's going over to Song? He might not have any idea.
Did he not scout his ostrich there? He should see it, and he should see that the ostrich are dying. Now he knows, and now he quick bolts.
Okay, and now he's sending his Drush back. This might be game 1 jitters. I don't know. I don't know enough about Bad Boy and his mentality, but that to me looks like you're looking around too much instead of staying calm. And fortunately for him, he realizes. But that's advantage for ACCM, right? ACCM hasn't had any of this quick walling to do.
Also, Bad Boy, a guy that heavily grinded the new patch, right? Played Tatars in and out, made life hell for everyone who played random against him.
Yep.
But Tatars, since we're still playing with the old patch, not as strong, and I'm really questioning how well he will be prepared and how well he can adjust to the old patch.
So before we played Vietnam B, I was doing a lot of, as we see the Drushes engage here. You should favor Bad Boy because of the scout, but now it's close. Both scouts try and survive, and ACCM keeps his alive. But yeah, as we're watching the pretty unimportant Drush fight go down, I was doing a lot of homework on the players' profiles, because if they don't put it as private, if they're doing practice games, you can see them. And they were playing something like 7 to 8 hours a day of 2v2s against other Vietnamese teams. In fact, they played like 6 games in a row on all the World Cup maps against Backed and ACCM. So I think they're going to be pretty well prepared. The problem would be is that I think Vietnam A is going to understand them. So
Yeah. Well, that goes vice versa, right? Now, each team knows, okay, how are they playing, and most of the time in those scenarios, the team with a higher base skill wins more often.
Yep, that's true. There's one big difference right now from what I'm seeing, and it's the fact that Bad Boy isn't fully walled. ACCM is completely walled, going Drush Fast Castle. Bad Boy is not. The scout players are walled and making scouts, but that could be a concern at some point. Back to swinging over 3 scouts. Bad Boy, good resources though, Nilly. Making his range, making his blacksmith, and will be on his way to Castle Age at a decent time.
And solid resources without any ostrich pushing, right?
Yeah.
Now he needs to quick wall a bit. Let's take a look if there's a hiccup. Nope.
Yeah, well
Good
played.
job.
You never, really good job. You never want to do this.
Good boy.
I also think it was well done from Backed to know he's not fully walled and just to dive in there. You know, even without killing anything, that's well worth it for Backed, and now he can just leave. This is the problem when you don't full wall. And I've seen the idols on the wood line. That's not ideal. And scouts, we haven't talked about too much, Nilly, but we've got Song and Backed with little engagements in the middle, but nothing crazy.
Yeah, pretty much impossible that anything crazy happens there. The problem is with those quick walls forced, as we saw, some other villagers on the wood, and he still didn't properly transition onto gold, right? If you're Britons, you kind of need 9 villagers on gold even to constantly produce out of 2 archery ranges.
Yeah, you don't get that plus 100 that Ethiopians get, and I think, as we've stated already, if we're comparing the players in the north, the archer players, I think you'd prefer to be an ACCM spot. Ethiopians getting the extra resources can help. Faster firing speed is nice, and we'll see if Bad Boy can get the numbers. Also like how Backed is able to harass and just be a presence at Bad Boy's base for now, and that's not something Song is able to offer against the other archer player.
Yeah, Annoying a bit there, but as I said, ACM walled so much earlier. Quite an interesting choice by Bekti, going for a pretty early market.
Yeah, I think this could be bad for Bad Boy. Couldn't think of another word there. Yep. Had to redistribute villagers like you said, Nilly, and then didn't leave the berries walled in and backed his back and 2 villagers down just like that. And that's why you need to have those walls down. I think the drush timing from ACCM was so good that they were able to get the early momentum on this side, and they're gaining some success from that.
And let's maybe compare archer numbers. Bad Boy at 7, ACM at 7 as well, so no big advantage simply because Britain's archer ranges work so much faster.
Yeah, also it feels like Bad Boy's able to get the upgrades he'll need. Bad Boy will hate this position. And on the other side, Backed will be slightly faster to Castle Age, but let's see. See what the micro's
Bodkin.
like here. Yeah, no Bodkin, but fortunately you're on 7 range without it with Britons. But looking good for ACCM and Backed as they happily just continue to move forward, and Bad Boy's leaving a resource again.
Yeah, and the question is, was it map generation or did Bad Boy maybe choose suboptimal wood lines? Micro has to be on point, doing a good job so far.
Yeah, but here comes Backed, and Backed is probably... Oh, he doesn't have it yet, but I was thinking he's about to get some upgrades on these scouts, and that's huge for Vietnam A. Yeah, I don't know, Nilly. Like, he's got wood lines on the back. He just has had an awful time securing his base since the beginning because ACCM went for pre-mill drush, and Bad Boy added his barracks later, so... Oh, man, this is going to be brutal. Look at these town centers. Bad Boy's just adding town centers. Reminds me of Hera's awkward position for Canada A yesterday.
Oh boy.
Oh, man.
Let's take a look, but that TC won't be forced up. Oh boy, sitting at 24% there, forced away from his goal. That will be very problematic for his production as well.
Everything about this is just so bad, man. It's so idle, so awkward. He's adding the town centers. He can't produce out of these TCs. He's just adding them for protection. Does have the extra range. He's doing what he can right now, and I think the TC will go up. Might lose a vill or two. Back should engage with the scouts, and he does, Nilly. That's a good engagement for the scouts.
How many villagers are dying? Some low HP ones, not the craziest one by ACCM.
Oh.
Finds 3 more kills though.
Oh, man, and maybe even more. Oh, man, this is not the start to the series you want. The crossbows are also dying to scouts. And so you look at the vill counts, it's 33 for Bad Boy. He is at the lowest, and we've only been talking about poor Bad Boy's base this entire time. ACCM's coming forward with more. We have barely looked elsewhere. This is brutal.
Yeah, well, we kind of saw it early on, right? 3 players fully walled, 1 is open. It's kind of destined to go that way.
Yeah. Also, something to bring up. If you lose with Britons on Arabia, I think Ghost Lake is one of their home maps. And I kind of prefer Britons on Ghost Lake because of the sheep there. We've seen a lot of teams pick it. But let's see if maybe Song Song can come back for his team now. He has Indian camels, but the downside of having camels is that crossbows are better against them than they would be against knights. Indians cannot make those. 3 TCs for Song Song. Yeah, this looks good. But I imagine Backed is also going to have a similar eco with 3 TCs as well. So it needs some way to recover.
Yeah, economy should be running pretty well for Vietnam A. Now they have the army advantage. Do you think they should have stayed on Bad Boy, or do you think the switch on Song Song is the better one?
I think this is a good switch here. What I like is how they didn't hesitate, because if you hesitate, then it can give a moment for Song Song and Bad Boy to have confidence to push forward, and then suddenly you're chasing. But I think this is a good time to switch because you've done enough damage against Bad Boy, and it's really hard for Bad Boy to get units over here. Whereas if you're pushing Bad Boy, Song Song, he is the faster unit, so he can send help easily. Now those crossbows have to come the whole way across the map, and here they come from Bad Boy. Good patience from Vietnam A. I think they realize they're never going to run through there. They're just asking questions of Vietnam B. That's a lot of camels right there.
Yeah, but only 1 armor upgrade on them now, so 2 pierce armor against those crossbows can't really take the engagement.
Yeah, he's saving up for it. There's the upgrade now. But throughout that time, I think it'd be important for ACCM and Backed to step back a bit, get some numbers. Looking at the Archer numbers, Nilly, it is 19 for Bad Boy, or 20 for Bad Boy, and 23 for ACCM. So yes, while Bad Boy's behind in eco, if they can get enough camels and crossbows out with Britons, Indians, this is definitely something that they can recover from.
Yeah, very untypical that ACM is not adding any archery ranges. Plays only 2. You often see people adding a third one on the way to Castle Age.
Yep.
And at this point, with 57 villagers plus, people are already adding 4 or 5 archery ranges.
Do you think it's the level of confidence that ACCM has that he knows that he can get by with 2, or do you think maybe it's he's playing it too much like a 1v1 here as the crossbows are caught out? Still not the best engagement for Song Song to take.
Yeah, is backing away from it. I'm not really sure what the reasoning is there. He saw instant TCs coming up. Maybe he thinks, okay, the big mass and Castle Age is something I don't want to go for against Britons because Britons can always dictate the fight.
True.
So maybe stronger eco and trying to make the push happen early is the way to go with Ethiopians.
Yeah, I think it takes a huge level of confidence to do that because I've seen so many times where teams, like, going 3 range can kill someone with more economy on 2 range, you know? So, there are so many players who probably get away with that, and ACCM is one of them who has the Vil lead right now. And Vietnam A just swinging right back over to Vietnam B. Vietnam B still trying to recover, still waiting for a mistake to happen. And it's just not happening just yet, Nilly. But maybe with this massive hill here, I'm curious now if ACCM is going to be able to get more forward, because it feels like this is a moment where Vietnam B could maybe pounce.
Oh yeah, I think they will clear this up. I think this is a good spot for Vietnam A to retreat, and they see that running away to the left-hand side. Good job, forced all the army there. When was the last time any army was close to ACCM or Back T?
I mean, I remember scouts from Song Song attacking the walls at backspace.
Yeah.
That's about it, man. Well, a free kill there, and Bad Boy will appreciate that. The Camels are on the other side. The Camels will loop in now, and suddenly this fight, like, both teams have the hills, some pieces of the armies don't, and both teams commit to the fight. It should be better for Vietnam B.
Uh-oh, but there are 14 more crossbows arriving. I think most of the Camels should die, but crossbow numbers kept alive for Bad Boy.
Yeah, all right, so Bad Boy still with good numbers. It's 30 military for both crossbow players. Do you prefer to have the faster firing speed or the extra range here? It really depends. But, all right, those Camels, though, they are all so weak, Nilly. They're melting to those crossbows.
They really shouldn't go in there. I think this should be if Song Song selects his army and sees, okay, all of them are like on one camel leg.
Yeah.
I need to heal them up. They should really disengage.
If that was Tim, and it's a shame, you know, Tim, unfortunately, we won't see any more of him in this tournament, but if that was Tim, those Camels would go home to a monk right now and start healing. So you might be thinking about that. And Vietnam B, again, just shifting over. There you go, by the way, Nilly. Red Militia attacking ACCM's eco. It just died, but that's the first counterattack they've had. But yeah, I love. Yeah, you're welcome. And I love how Vietnam A is so quick to say, okay, we're asking questions of Vietnam B in the middle. Let's switch sides. Let's pressure. And this is just perfect timing. And those are the weak Camels. Nightmare situation for Song Song.
He needs to run Siege Workshop, something we don't see too often in team games here. Kind of risky to sit next to it by ACM. Interesting that they're going for the stable instead of the Siege Workshop.
If they can get a shot here, how epic would that be? I think you go for it. You're only going to get one. Oh, it was decent. Not
Felt like
quite.
a spot where Delete could have made a lot of sense. You never get off a second shot.
Yeah, I was expecting that as well. All right, Bad Boy coming over to help. He encounters the armies. He's fighting 1v2 for a bit. Now the Camels are coming in, so it's Crossbow v Knight and Crossbow v Camel. It should be much better for Crossbow v Camel. And still Bad Boy at 65 villagers, both back in ACCM, mid-90s. And this is the time where Vietnam B need to be finding some room to breathe, Nilly. They need to be pushing back. If they're not, it's going to look so much worse for them in Imp.
Yeah, trying to take a look at the resources. Everyone kind of starting to bank up. Back T at the limit, Song Song at the limit. But Bad Boy, ACM, well, they will click up in reasonable times.
Yeah, this is so clean from back to ACCM. And I'm looking at the queue now. There's 4 ranges at home for ACCM. Every single one's queued up with at least 3 crossbows. He's about to click up to Imperial. And it's kind of... Well, actually, Bad Boy's saving some resources to go up. I'll give him credit there with only 8 on food. That's impressive.
Oh, yeah, that's very optimistic indeed. And he has like 3 TCs, right? So
Yeah.
production won't be there. Queues up a single villager, and yeah, if he reaches imp, it won't be with a strong economy.
Yeah, just idling your TC at this point might be the play, because you know that ACCM is going to be imp at some point. Finally, Vietnam B pushing. And first time in the game where I feel like there's a real threat that they could push out across the map and attack either Backed or ACCM. I think the answer's got to be hit ACCM at this stage. He has so many crossbows out. He's doing so well. He's so far ahead of Bad Boy.
Oh, more crossbow coming over though in the center of the map, and yeah, if you're hitting him, you're lacking siege. Camel numbers aren't there to take down any buildings. I think the counterattack won't be having a lot of oomph behind it.
Yeah, it's so... I mean, I understand there's one player who is less eco here, but the way that there's been constant engagements has been really fun to watch. There's been many games in this tournament where armies are not fighting all the time, but this is just satisfying to watch as it's still Vietnam B backing up. It's impressive, and it's, again, a time for Vietnam B where they need to push out across the map, and, oh, Backed gets a great position on the hill.
Oh, but camels are squeezing through there. Good job by Song Song using patrol, tries to get in front of it. Crossbow numbers are dying on either side, though.
Is this going to be a 50-50 fight? It feels like everyone's going to lose the same amount of units here. I could be off base on that. Okay, it looks like a few more camels will survive. But my goodness, man, that was really close. And 50-50 is what Vietnam A will take because they have one person imping, or two. Sorry, yeah, one person imping. And even though the imp times are going to be the same, big fight here. Well done from Bad Boy. Even though the imp times will be the same, one person has way more eco.
Oh, crossbow numbers now getting decimated. And still only 4 archer ranges. Look at that, he has 20 crossbow in production. ACM needs to add more facilities.
Yeah, maybe a bit much. That might be because he's paying so close attention to the fights that he just control groups those ranges and constantly queues and doesn't pay too close attention to his queue.
Yeah.
But still, the camels especially are going to be so much weaker in a moment. They're already struggling against the crossbow numbers. And ACCM, he has a total of 35 military. Bad Boy only at 25. And Bad Boy, how much does he have on food right now? Okay, 17. He can get Bracer. I don't think he can get Arbalest right away. ACCM can get every single tech.
Yeah, just massive economy. Arbalest queued up behind some crossbows though. Now adds archer range number 5. And is this the moment where Song Song feels okay, take the engagement before the upgrades are kicking in?
He thought about it there, but his teammate wasn't there. And I think, oh wait, this would be the last chance for Mangonels to do anything. That's been spotted. And great micro from ACCM. The crossbows from Red should be coming on the other side. Where are they? There they are.
Oh, blocked by the trees there. Not the greatest scenario.
Yeah. Then again, I think you want to be with your teammate instead of apart from him. And I've been, again, Vietnam B, they fell behind in Dark Age. We'll talk about that at some point. But I've been impressed with Vietnam B, how they've been able to stay with the armies. It's like they haven't fallen further behind after the flaws in Dark Age and Feudal Age for Bad Boy.
Yeah, absolutely agree. This is a really, really good game from all 4 players. Like, we saw as you said, hiccups early on, but after that, world class.
Yeah, and the only reason that Bad Boy is behind right now is because of those hiccups, but apart from that, I mean, he's played as perfect as can be. And we do have Song Song imping, and that... Oh, I didn't realize Backed was an imp. Uh-oh. Okay, I thought Backed was still in Castle Age. No, Backed is researching Cavalier and armor right now, so Vietnam need to force some type of an engagement.
And those sides are still mainly full HP, so the fight will be relatively good. Mango's shot is okay, and now the fight is forced.
Yeah, and armor's not in yet. Backed will not want to take this fight yet. This is an interesting little engagement, how much is armor going to matter here? Armor's still not in, still not in, still not in. He's running away. He's losing a lot of knights, nearly.
Oi, 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 oi. Bacti very indecisive there. Wasn't happy to see ACM not really putting anything on the field, at least at that spot. And now he's taking the fight again at a weird timing, shortly before Cavalier kicks in.
Yeah, didn't have Cavalier. Maybe felt the arbs would be enough there. Vietnam B, if they can hold on, I think they'll be in a nice position. I'm seeing other things on the map, no, Nilly. There's a lot of green in the south, and that's back walling up to deny that corner so Vietnam B cannot trade. And now the Arbalest from Bad Boy get pounced on. It's just Song Song too late to the Imperial Age to help his teammate there.
How did Bad Boy's army get there? That was a miscommunication. That actually, like, it felt like a small thing, but that might be the biggest mistake of the game.
Yeah, and one of the few mistakes they've made since the early stages. These Camels could probably sit here on the hill. They're going to get their upgrades here in a bit. Paladin upgrade will be on the way for Backed, though. And that's going to be a lot. And I also see the outpost for ACCM in the north, so they've spotted the markets, probably saying, all right, they'll trade on the other side. Let's deny that in some way. I've really enjoyed this game. I really wish that it would have been, that one player wouldn't have been so far behind. Because this would have been 50-50 the whole way through to Imp. Vietnam V have done a great job to hold on here, but it's going to be so tough now.
And yeah, it really excites me that we have very Arabia-esque maps to come after this. Because games will play very similar. And for example, Ghost Lake, it is impossible to be dead/heavily behind in early Feudal Age, early Castle Age. So we will get a lot of those repays with more even starting positions.
Exactly. And another thing to bring up is if Vietnam A were able to get a win here, they should be able to get a win in the other maps, but they also... Okay, where's Camel being researched?
I think they already lost the stable.
Wait, no. Wait, no. It's on the way, actually.
I think he had to re-click it.
That would make sense because it's taken a while here. Oh, man. That's brutal. But, it's not like this has been an absolute stomp by Vietnam A. As I say that as Paladin's in. This might be too hard for Vietnam B to come back from now. Too many Ethiopian crossbows on the hill. Lots of Paladins. Lots of trade for Vietnam A.
Quite interesting. There's a lot of engagements at the very top, trying to block there, and now the big jump. Can this be the finishing blow?
Yeah, it probably should be. Forget about that town center for Vietnam A. Just patrol in, take out the army. I mean, if anything's going to carry Vietnam B back into this, it will be the Camels. And actually, it's not an awful fight for Bad Boy and Song Song. Wait. Okay, it's awful. If they don't win, if they don't clear it, it's awful, I think.
And the big problem is, like, this is all the camels gone. Imperial Camel, no option here, no gold. So from here on, the Indian player can only put Lightcav, maybe Hussar on the map, and that's the big problem.
Yep. Yeah, they needed to win that fight and then have a strong counterattack with that, and they did not win that fight. Man, Ethiopians, so strong with that firing speed. And ACCM, I mean, if you compare what ACCM was able to do to Bad Boy and then look what Song Song and Backed were doing in the South, ACCM was ahead of his player, and Song Song and Backed were pretty darn even throughout that game. But what a game to start off the series, Nilly. I'm so pumped, like you said, that the home maps for Vietnam B are similar to Arabia. And if the walls are up for everybody, if there's not any flaws in Dark Age and Feudal Age, we might have very, very long post-imp games coming.
Agreed. This was a very promising game, number one for the full set. Something I want to say about Ethiopians, they obviously have the bonus of shooting faster, but compared to Britons, they also on top have Thumbring.
Yep.
So those fights might have been decided simply because the Imp army there, once you can't use the range, is just so much better for Ethiopians compared to Britons.
Yeah, and if you break down what's really exciting about Britons, it's not just the extra range, but it's the fact that you have cheaper TCs. And for Bad Boy, he was never able to utilize his extra range in early Castle Age, and he was behind to town centers. So, like, the two main things that make Britons really, really strong, he wasn't able to utilize in this game. And it really stems back to Dark Age. If you're new to competitive AoE2, it is that punishing. ACCM made a barracks before a mill. Bad Boy made a barracks after a mill, after seeing that barracks, and then was on the back foot. You could argue maybe could have been a bit greedier and walled up more. Maybe shouldn't have lost those 2 villagers on the berries. But I felt that Bad Boy actually did a pretty solid job for the circumstances he was in and still fell behind. So, Nilly, Vietnam B, a standard team. They have Golden Pit and Ghost Lake. My expectation is that they go for Golden Pit because I know they played that a lot. And what civs do they have that look strong on Golden Pit?
We have to go into. Let me X out the civilizations
Yep.
first.
I'm
And
doing the
we
same
had
here.
Indians gone. So Golden Pit, I'm personally a big fan to go for a civ that is incredibly strong late Castle Age. So I think Berbers might be the best civilization on Golden Pit. Interesting that Vietnam A instantly banned that away,
Yeah.
knowing that Vietnam B could go for that. I think relics won't be the biggest factor, so Lithuanians probably not what I would go for. I think something like Mayans, Persians sound weird, but I think actually might be something we could see.
Yeah, it's either the civs that come to mind for Golden Pit for me are Slavs and Berbers. So there won't be Berbers.
Mhm.
For them, they don't have Slavs, and that's likely what we might see from Vietnam A, which is a solid pick. Yeah, Persians. I like Persians over Lithuanians because I think Lithuanians would be really good for
Thanks for the
Ghost
entertainment,
Lake.
T90.
Mhm.
You could even argue Scandinavia, maybe, but I don't know about that one. Um, yeah, so Persians' minds make sense. And I think it's not just strong late Castle Age, but also strong archer rolls. Really important here. So maybe we'll see Chinese for Vietnam A, Chinese and Slavs. That would be strong against Mayans, Persians.
Is there any other thing? Something we have to question, like, what is the third Archer Civ of Vietnam A going to be, right? They have to play Golden Pit and Ghost Lake, or we picked Ethiopians. So it's Chinese plus what? Are they playing Incas? Are they playing Italians?
Italians?
Malians? I think Italians is better on Scandinavia.
Yeah, Italians is probably for Scandinavia. I I do feel like Italians are underrated as a flank civ, but because there's maps that involve water, you probably want Italians there. That's
Hmm.
true. It's so important for Vietnam B to get a win here because if they tie it up, that means that the civs get a lot more questionable for both teams going into the later stages. Um, Scandinavia, I have some guesses on both sides. In particular, if Scandi does come, we'll have Mongols available for Vietnam B. You have Italians, as you said, for Vietnam A. What do you think about Scandinavia, Nilly? I know Germany was practicing on that.
Yeah.
What
Like,
are your thoughts on the map?
our strategy that is an option here for Vietnam A would have been Italians plus Malians
Okay.
and sling Malians onto champ cards.
Ooh,
On champ condos, I mean.
champ. Oh, champ condos. All right.
Yeah. That would have been our strategy, but sadly, we picked Italians and then they directly picked Malians after that.
Yeah.
So that strategy was taken away from us. And I think civilizations struggle a lot against that. Because can you go range? Not really. You can't really go for hand cannoneers. And to mass Mongols, Mangudai, you have to chase so many angles. It's a tricky thing to defend.
Okay. Well, yeah. I what I like about the map pool for World Cup is that we have 5 maps which could be seen as standard. Then we have 5 which break that a little bit. Scandy's one of
Mhm.
them. Arena's one of them. Nomad's one of them. Team Islands, and then there's another one, Chaos Pit. Right.
Mhm.
Um, and what's been cool is I think that teams, much like Germany and maybe other teams out there as well, will pick a map or two where they could go for something that's not expected. And that can give them an edge over whatever team they face in the important
Mhm.
stages. So I've been enjoying that so far. I'm still kind of surprised that you have a team that's favored to win in Vietnam A. And I think it's the first team that's been heavily favored to win in a series that has actually picked Arena as a home map instead of a more standard map. So that was pretty cool to see. We're waiting for the next game,
Yeah.
guys. These are live to the people asking.
Yeah, I think they still didn't launch Golden Pit. Indeed, what they're going for, and have a guess. Back T probably taking a
A
a
smoke
smoke break.
break. Yeah. Hey, at least he's not starting the game and then pausing.
Hmm.
So that's fine. Well, I'm thinking you're pretty on par with the civilizations, Nilly. I think we'll see Mayans. We'll see Bad Boy with a whole bunch of archers with Mayans. We'll probably see Persians for Song Song. It's either that or Lithuanians. Those are the only options that make sense. For Vietnam A, then, that Chinese Slavs is probably the best combo that they have. But if they want to save Slavs or save Chinese, they could go with something like Huns, Incas, Huns, Italians. I don't know. I still feel like Slavs, Chinese is pretty set for the Golden Pit.
Yeah, yeah, feels like it. Think about like other options like Persians. Can you go for something else? Is there an option to maybe squeeze in Spanish here? But probably we're seeing those on Arena.
Yeah.
The question is like Lithuanians. It is not that easy to wall on Golden Pit early on, so something like Pop 18 Scouts can be pretty tricky to deal with on Golden Pit. Very often you're not walled before that.
Okay, this is not something I was expecting at all. I-
What? What?
Nilly, I just want to back you up here. I think that our strategies were better. Okay, this is a massive surprise here. We'll have Vietnam A going for Incas and Slavs, and then we'll have Vietnam B going for Mayans and Spanish, and that one's the biggest surprise to me because I suppose Vietnam A could go archers with Incas, and then Slavs could go scouts into knights. But if you're picking Spanish on this map, a map that is usually very difficult to wall, it's got to be conquistadors, right?
It has to be, but then do you want to have the main player also going plume? So what's the plan there? I still think Incas is not as surprising because we said they are lacking archer civs.
Yep.
Chinese then probably is going to be played on Ghost Lake. Also really strong on Ghost Lake, so I don't see that. And Incas kind of forced on them because they did the mistake there in the draft having too few archer civs. But, well, the big question is Spanish? You said it. Kongs?
Yeah. So I have a little story to tell here. So, since we're a little confused by Vietnam B's strategy, we did a lot of homework on Vietnam B before we played them. The maps they like to play, the civs they like to play.
How did that work out?
Let me make that joke, please. And anyways, so we're going through, and Daniel and I spent about an hour and a half talking about what we're expecting. And if you know Daniel, this is very typical for Daniel to say. We're talking through the civs that they had left and the civs that they were using on these maps, and Daniel's just like, "Oh, they're just dead." He's like, "Oh, they're just dead with these civs. They're just dead." He's like, "They just die. They just can't win." It's a very Daniel thing to say. Even when we're playing, he'll be like, "Oh, we just win. It's game over." And it's funny because we said that, and we're looking at these Vietnam B civs now, and we're thinking we would never do this, but we still got 3-0'd. So apparently, skill matters a lot. Bad Boy stealing 2 turkeys right now, Nilly.
Okay, trying to get an idea. And Mayan should be so much better than Incas, so we kind of feel the Spanish player has to carry. Let's maybe take a look at his map. Is there an option to go into Kongs? How easy can he wall?
Oh, Spanish. I believe that Song Song can make it happen, but what's the concern is if ACCM sees this, it's not like he's expecting Spanish to go archers or scouts here. You just know at the high level that it's almost always full wall. So I think this is an invitation for ACCM to go forward with one of the best towering civs in Incas. So the wall's potential is there, Nilly, but what if towers go up behind those walls and villagers break them down?
Yeah, and those 2 stone spots not too defensively. So that's going to be tricky. The moment ACM gets kind of control of the right-hand side of Song Song, defense will be incredibly tough for him.
Yeah, so might see towers here instead of that meta. I think it would make a whole lot of sense for ACCM to do that and make sure that Song Song isn't fully walled and then have back to go with really fast scouts. Because if the archers are coming from Bad Boy, that's going to take some time. He needs to build the ranges. He needs to get upgrades. And so that will give back to about 2 minutes to send a few scouts over to Song Song's base. So Song Song, I don't agree with the strategy because this is going to put so much unnecessary pressure on him early.
And I already dislike how he's building those houses. If he thinks, okay, I need to get control of my stone, this is not the way to go. This will give an invitation to ACM to tower and control this area.
Yeah, maybe.
Does he not know
Something.
about his board?
No.
He's
He
wanting out his
sees
board.
it. I think he's gonna. He knows the eagle's there, and the eagle's weak, so he's gonna pull this villa around with his scout, and he'll be fine with that. But Neely, I agree with you. I think nothing about this is ideal. You pick the most open map to try and go full wall on. It is not gonna be that easy for you. And there goes that villager bringing in the boar now. I see a barracks now, so maybe he'll mix it up a little bit, and he will actually kill that eagle. So ACCM will not know that a drush is going to be coming forward.
That's actually true. Okay, well, he will be drushing himself, so he will have some control and won't be underprepared.
Okay, so maybe not a fast feudal with Incas to tower then. Maybe just drush vassal into cross. Drush vassal. We're making fast castle vassal now, but yeah, maybe he's just gonna go fast castle into crossbows, which can still be pretty fine against conquistadors.
Look at how ACM is walling. He's also having little control over his gold. Okay, now he walls a bit more differently. His first 2 militia, interesting. He's not going for 3 militia. He's only going for 2.
Huh. He maybe didn't collect the 10 gold yet, so he said whatever.
Yeah.
After watching game 1, you and I were so hyped for game 2 because of the type of style that the maps would bring and how competitive it was. And this is the complete opposite from what I expected, man. Like, this is not going to be the Archer Scout meta from both teams. It's probably not going to be even with similar army comps. It's going to be completely different. All right. But here comes the drush, and ACCM still has not spotted this, and ACCM's drush will do nothing at Song Song's base.
Yeah, this is really good for Song Song, right? Because ACM, he knows about both stones, knows that he can't do much, and now the militia are arriving at his berries, and he's not walled.
He did just see the barracks. He's just clicked loom. Will he notice this?
Ooh.
He does. Well done. Yes, but I think the drush will harass more because it can attack palisades, force quick walls, and this is exactly what the Spanish player would want. Not to lose militia to the town center, not that, but just to be fully walled and not being pressured by towers.
Both players going for a 2 militia drush here.
That's funny.
And yeah, not the greatest eco for ACM here. Only now starting to farm, not the greatest transition. Puts them down now, and yeah, he will indeed play the fast castle, send some villagers over, but there will be at least 2 dead deer.
Yep. If they kill that one there, they can eat from it. There you go. But that's 280 food down, and you mentioned he might really need that as his militia come back. On the other side, I see this eagle for Bad Boy. I don't know. Okay, now he's moving around. Yeah, Bad Boy is going into archers. Bad Boy almost completely walled on a very difficult map to wall, and good safe gold, good safe wood lines. And I felt as though the scouts from back would be able to get in and do damage on Song Song, but that was only if there was pressure from ACCM. So this is actually good for Vietnam B right now.
Ooh, back T. Realizing, okay, those 2 guys at the left-hand side are playing their 1v1. I need to play a 1v1 against Mayans, and look at that. He's going for skirms as Slavs.
Interesting, and if you think about it long-term, Nilly, if Song Song is going to be on Conquistadors, full elite skirmisher does counter crossbow and conch. So it's
Till Castle Age.
till other
because
things get mixed in.
Slavs don't get bracer.
Yeah, exactly. But no, this is actually, it's a move I like because you can threaten Mayans, where otherwise I think 2 spearmen, 2 archers could counter you. And look at this now. You see a spearman and an archer coming forward. Bad Boy's not expecting skirmishers.
Yep, only gets the confirmation now, and he will be confused. Okay, this guy is not going for it. Is he trying to regroup? What's going to be his play here?
I just made 2 spearmen, which would be a great play against scouts. We've seen that work so frequently. I think you still try and run in and maybe use that eagle against any skirms, but and you have to be very passive with how many archers you send forward.
Feels like a very suicidal move. Let's take a look. Skirmishers getting a good first volley off.
Yeah, good volley off. Another volley off as well. The scout could be very important for both players, and Bad Boy's got to run away. What a great play from Backed to switch it up here. I really love this.
Still no upgrades on those skirmishers, though, so damage output won't be crazy. Eagle indeed doing a good job.
And you could add a few more Eagles if you're Bad Boy. I don't think there's anything to stop you from doing 1 or 2 more. And Bad Boy running away.
Scout can help out as well. Still full HP. Spearman might be focused down. Gets a hit off. Skirmisher's not really fighting back.
Yeah, it looks good for a moment there, but Bad Boy will like the last couple moments. A lot of these skirmishers weak. They can even be finished off by archers. I think both players obviously focusing on walling up or macroing a bit at home during some of those engagements. Update over on Song Song's side. Song Song with a stable and a market. Nilly, do you think most players would still go blacksmith market at this point, or do you think stable market makes a little bit of sense?
If you already have the barracks, it's not the biggest difference. I think husbandry is a nice upgrade. I think eventually you need to get all 3 buildings anyways.
Yeah, all right. I say that because I've been watching a lot of Song Song games over the last month. Not for preparation, but also because his 1v1s are fascinating to me. And whether he's with Mongols or Spanish or any unique unit, Civ, he almost always, as we see some pickoffs here, does it this way. And he skips that blacksmith. So now he's going to add the blacksmith after the fact. He's going to get to Conquistadors, but we'll see how much damage ACCM can do, because ACCM will be in Castle Age way faster and will be on crossbows.
And the stone we mentioned earlier won't be protected well. I think this is the spot where you even send out your first archer. Like, what is he fearing? He knows Bad Boy is playing very aggressively against Bekti. He knows his opponent won't go for any army. Just send 1 archer out and be annoying at the stone.
I suppose if you do that as a counter argument, then he would pre-tower it. He would add a tower if there's 1 archer, but he hasn't added any towers now, and here come the archers from ACCM altogether.
But that's perfect for you if he builds a tower. That delays the castle by 125 stone.
No, I get that. I think that if Song Song's going to be this greedy, then maybe you get Vil kills, and then he doesn't have a tower. And I don't know. Maybe you lose 2 villagers, you save the stone. Maybe that's better. But I think Song Song should pre-tower anyways, right? This is so risky. What does he think is coming here?
I think he will stay there, and if he's getting pushed away, he simply buys the rest. Like we saw Tim. Didn't he buy 600 stone the other day?
600 stone. Yep. And there he goes. He backs away. He spotted it. And he's going to do exactly that. Yeah, he'll wall behind and drop that castle. Let's see if ACCM can break through. Could be dangerous.
Spanish, they get those houses up so quickly, so shouldn't really be a problem. Castle being dropped, and crossbows won't achieve anything.
Yeah, unless there's a mistake. Oh, man. See, if that was us, we would have lost that villager. That's.
I would have lost 2.
Exactly. See, that's just the luck that we don't have. Okay. So skirmishers and spearmen in the middle for Backed. Backed still not on a stable. He's about to click up. I'm wondering if he's going to switch or if he'll stay on ranged units. Bad Boy also on the way up. Bad Boy's significantly faster than Backed, and he's going to have quite a few crossbows. And so not awful for Vietnam B right now.
Bekti now preparing the switch, adds the stable, had to build a tower there because he really did hate his gold spots, and stone were really, really open, so tricky for him to control his map. And, well, let's see how this will go. It should be Crossbow Knight against Crossbow Kong.
Yeah, and while that melee range combo is good, Conquistador Crossbow is a pretty amazing combination. So I don't like how fast castling with Spanish on this map has become a thing here for Vietnam B. I don't like the confidence that Song Song has here because he's already lost some villagers and he'll lose more. Still really needs to stay on that gold Nilly. No help from Bad Boy coming over. He's heading over towards Bakhti right now.
Maybe feeling he has a timing there, and I can't fault him for that. Kong's having husbandry, bloodlines, and 1 defense upgrade, so did invest quite heavily, but 2 villager losses. Let's see if it stays at that.
Yeah, it probably will get dealt with in the end. ACCM will be happy that he's untouched. And Backed, this is a strategic pause, because he just got hit on his woodline. He just lost 2 villagers, and it's going to be more. I don't think this is pausing for a smoke break backed. And I've seen a few of this in the live game so far, where they pause when the going gets rough so they can talk about what they do over the next couple minutes. And there's a quick pause and quick unpause as Backed immediately leaves the woodline and is towering his farms.
And I think this should be forbidden. I can't wait. Like, online,
I agree.
it is tricky to make some rules happen, but I can't wait till we get onto the offline games post-COVID. And, like, I will guarantee you most tournaments will forbid that.
I'm with you on that. I'm glad to hear you agree, because there's been a lot of strategic pausing over the last 12 to 18 months, and I'm not a huge fan of it.
Tech tree pausing as well.
Yeah, but like, if you've ever, even just a rated game, been playing and been in a groove and someone pauses, it really can ruin your rhythm too. But we can talk more about that in the future, man. I can see why Backed might need to think about it a little bit, because he's got 2 groups of crossbows to deal with in a second. And I guess good move from Song Song. He cleared it up. Song Song is in a bad spot economically, but so is Backed. And there's a lot of conks on the field and a Siege Workshop for Song Song. This is a really tough composition coming towards Vietnam A.
Oh, yeah. And Song Song sitting at 5 military. Backty at 2 on the other side. Numbers still not too high from the non-crossbow players.
Yeah, I noticed that ACCM has the town center in the middle, and he's also on stone. I assume that's intentional. Sometimes villagers will go there because the TC is right next to it, but if that is intentional, he might be thinking about castling that as he gets hit on his woodline by Bad Boy.
1 villager down. Second one makes it home. University now for ACM. Has enough crossbow to defend. Dives under the TC of Song Song at the front. Risky move.
Very
This shouldn't
risky
work.
move. It shouldn't work. If it works, it's amazing. If it doesn't, it's awful. Oh my god.
Oh, sniping down those 2 villagers that should have built the house. There was the major move.
The plays from ACCM, that's so risky. That's so risky to go through, and it's so worth it. Oh my word. Villagers die. Villagers have to flee. The Mangonel comes back instead of forward. What a crazy play from ACCM there.
And yeah, like we talked so much about how well Song Song is playing, but let's be honest. If ACM is diving in there against Terra, no villager dies and all crossbows are dead.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little unfair to compare someone to Hera. But, yeah, I mean, ACCM, look at this! The 3 crossbows! The 3 crossbows are still there, getting value! Oh my word!
Yeah, getting 2 more kills there was really impressive for sure, and...
Look at Back's position right now. Back's position isn't that great either. I mean, his eco is better in terms of numbers, but at the end of the day, Song Song's making one of the most OP units in Castle Age, and Backed is making knights with, well, he just got access to gold again. Doesn't have that many.
Okay, quick question for Age of Empires / Overlay, guys. Did Age of Empires freeze for you as well, like overlay stats-wise?
That's been happening to me over the last couple weeks. Did it freeze for you?
Yeah, no. It's like didn't happen for quite some time.
Yeah, it happened to me yesterday. Don't ask me why. Nearly, you and I both know the struggles of casting on DE, but yeah, for you it means your stats are going to be frozen and all that's going to be frozen. So I can at least keep you up to date on all that stuff, but fortunately the game still runs. I'm wondering just how many conquistadors and Mangonels Song Song is going to create here, because I think if he gets to 20 conks, 3 Mangonels, it's almost impossible for the army composition from Vietnam A to engage with the current numbers they have. And they really want to drop a castle, Vietnam A. ACCM has the stone for it, but I don't know if he's in the position to do so just yet.
Will be very tricky. Conquistadors dancing at the left-hand side, and now the knights are coming in. Mangonels relatively exposed. Castle behind this one could have been a bit more aggressive.
Yeah, well, I'm wondering how hesitant they should be, right? Because while Backed can take out the Mangonels, the conks and crossbows could take out the knights. But yeah, that castle will secure that area. And overall, ACCM with the confidence to stay in the fight with these crossbows the entire time is very good. Knights dive in, and that's Back's only job. So, well done.
And now the good position that they have, the hill kind of against the Kongs. Kongs have to retreat towards the castle, which obviously has ballistics as well. Gets 2 volleys off, and Army not looking too hot here for Vietnam B.
No. Yeah, I felt like there was... Like, Bad Boy's been untouched, right? Bad Boy's been absolutely untouched, and Bad Boy has so much eco, so I really felt like there's potential for them to get a lot of crossbows out here. He's still only at 17, and now it's ACCM's turn to lose a big batch of crossbows, but just waiting to see if Vietnam B can get their army numbers a bit higher here, Nilly. But as it stands, Bad Boy has control of the middle. The only person not in the middle with a town center would be Song Song. Song Song and Bad Boy need to work together. They need to have their conchs and their crossbows together. They do not right now, and they're paying the price for it.
I think maybe adding siege might have been an option for Vietnam A as well.
Well, it might not even be necessary. If the conchs and the crossbows aren't fighting together, the knights can engage against these crossbows in most cases. But yeah, in Golden Pit, I think it's more important to add some siege than it would be on something like Arabia. Because Golden Pit, you know where they're going to be fighting at all times. You don't have to worry about the lack of speed that Siege has. I just don't like how Song Song and Bad Boy are constantly separated from each other here. Like, conchs are now going down. I don't know where they should push. And the gates!
What? I didn't even know that you can wall there.
I don't think you should be able to build on most of that terrain. That was weird.
Maybe 1x1 you can?
Yeah, maybe a gate can span over some of the unbuilt terrain. That's a new one for me.
Huh, okay.
But,
We've seen that on Acropolis from time to time as well, where walls were possible, where some people didn't think that was an option.
Yeah.
Now we see ACM trying to rush out another castle, but Bad Boy will beat him to it.
So, to keep you updated on the eco situation, Song Song's at 46 vills. The lowest for Vietnam A would be backed, and backed is 72.
Wait.
And backed is Slavs. And while he had issues earlier, his farming eco is looking pretty solid with... Well, it's actually not as good as you would want, but he's at 25 farms. And there's a lot of control for Vietnam A in the middle. Now, Bad Boy is imping, Nilly. And Bad Boy could carry his team to victory here with 28 military. It's not an easy moment for Vietnam A to engage either, unless the Knights swoop in. And, oh, the crossbows for ACCM! He recovers, but not a fight he would have wanted to take. And here comes back, and now I think Bad Boy needs to go away. He needs to flee here.
Should get caught off guard. Mangonel is going down as well. Trying to get through there, and yeah, will be a nice angle.
Oh, if he runs to the left, there's another Mangonel! He might
attack
resist.
misses.
Another one. He splits Nilly, but he goes right into where the Knights and Crossbows would want him. Oh, man, what a disaster.
And the castle helping out at the left-hand side. Maybe overextending a bit, and that's what you've been saying this whole game, basically, starting from Castle Age. It's Bad Boy fighting, Song Song fighting. It's never Bad Boy and Song Song fighting.
Yeah. And a lot of it comes back to not sticking to the meta. It's like, I mean, if you go Knights and Crossbows, it makes so much more sense to keep them together. I think when you have conchs, you want to use the mobility and get some pickoffs, whereas Crossbows, they stay in one spot. I don't know, man, but I will tell you that with Arbalest and Bracer on the way, the fact that Bad Boy can make trebs, there is an opportunity for Vietnam B still.
Okay, how's ACM looking when it comes to imping?
ACCM is on the way 20%. So, great spot economically. 20% with 2 castles. Maybe he loses 1, but I still think that his
Song Song's main gold
will hold the mid.
On his home base.
Oh, God. ACCM, great decision to come here. Song Song reacts, but more losses for him. I think Vietnam A realized at this point that, yes, Bad Boy's imp, but if they keep that main group of arbs, which is kind of small, in the back or in this corner, that it's not going to be as bad for them as it otherwise could be. So a very good move from them to reposition like that.
Kongs could maybe be caught off guard. Knights now from both sides. Patrol is coming in. Squeezes through to the left-hand side. Good job by Song Song.
Yeah, Treb, number 1 out for Bad Boy already. Villagers dying everywhere for Song Song. And that was a castle that would have been a good position for Bad Boy, but he's unable to place that because of the Mangonel. ACCM has 36 military, but Bad Boy has 33. So the ARB numbers will be pretty similar.
Do you think it might have been an option for ACM to mix in some elite skirmishes?
I was wondering if Backed was just going to stay with skirmishers, remember. The Knights have definitely worked out, but Yeah, maybe some elite skirms mixed in. I see Backed is researching coinage, and he's already pre-coinage sending some wood over to ACCM, and all good engagement here for Backed, at least to take out the Arbalest.
Oh yeah, this is so good. And this is like the snowball that Bad Boy was counting on, right? He gets the Arbalest out, he has all the upgrades, and can win this one. Back T getting great usage of his castle H
Yeah,
army.
what's really weird about this is Bad Boy, while he has a TC in the middle, he spent so many resources building castles, and so many villagers were building those castles that he's now out of gold to make arbs. He only has 6 on gold.
Okay.
So
building another mining camp.
Yeah, it feels like ACCM has held, but at the same time, Back's kind of in an all-in castle age situation against a lot of conks in his base. That castle could be denied. This is really messy right now.
Oh yeah, you have to love it for sure. Game kind of feels like far from over, but also feels like it can be decided any second.
I know, it's a weird one, isn't it? Because Song's eco is awful, man. It's really all on what Bad Boy can do against ACCM. ACCM's repairing 2 castles, and he has 4 trebuchets firing on these castles. This is brutal for ACCM if he loses these, but he's holding them up for now.
Yeah, but castles are firing back on these traps. Repair obviously cheaper for Incas. And I think this will be potentially all 4 castles going down. Now the raid by ACM against the gold for Bad Boy in the center.
Yeah, poor Song, he finally gets a town center up in the middle, and all of his villagers die. Oh, man. He's really focused on microing those conquistadors. Can Bad Boy get enough crossbow, or arbalest, excuse me, out right now? He's got 20 of them. It's 35 for ACCM. And I think you called it, Nilly. It's kind of likely that all the castles in the middle could fall, because there's no armies to engage against the trebuchets right now.
So much stone going into those repairs, traps. Well, really unprotected, as you mentioned. Arbalest again, finding more kills. Just feel like ACM is getting the numbers out.
Yeah, ACCM is doing such a good job. Constant production. And he's been switching focus at the proper times, too. As we see Bad Boy push forward to take out the repair villagers. ACCM has hit Bad Boy's eco with ARPs. He's now going to defend back a little bit with ARPs. He has been at Song's eco multiple times with crossbows and ARPs. He's done a lot in this series and a lot in this game. And there's even some elite skirm, which I think was the play that might make it even easier for him to win against Bad Boy, which is his only job right now.
Yeah, chemistry is missing. I don't even know how the upgrade is called, but you can get an upgrade on the castle there to have no minimum range for those skirmishers. Could be really nice in big engagements if you patrol in. And at the moment, there would be no answer to mass skirmishers.
Look at Song. He has 14 conks chasing 4 villagers. That's not worth it. You send 1 conk there, you send the rest of the conks to the middle to support your teammate here. But yeah, I don't know if you noticed this, because on your end everything's frozen, but Backed is in the Imperial Age, and finally Vietnam A will have a bit of military to be able to engage underneath these castles and against trebuchets. Cavalier about to complete, armor's already in Nilly, so but there's a lot of gold income coming in for Bad Boy and Song. They actually have the score lead on my side, and oh, the Vil raid! Oh man, look at ACCM's base. Okay, but the comp just feels way better for Vietnam A.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're getting more out of the center. The stat we really need to look at after the game is how much stone did Bad Boy mine? Because he only built 2 castles this game, but it felt like he mined like 3k stone.
ACCM just lost a ton of arbs in the back of Bad Boy's base. What a weird game. The highest pop is ACCM with 118, but he's got 30 idols. Bad Boy and Song both at 100 pop and Backed at 95 as he engages with the Knights. Excuse me, I guess they weren't Cavalier just yet. And he takes out the trebuchets. What a crazy, crazy game here, Nilly.
Could go for the 3rd trap as well. Gets the conks in the center. Tricky at the moment. Song, well, has to micro like 3 different groups. And now the center feels kind of naked for Vietnam B.
Yeah. Conks coming in. Good thing about conks is they're still great against Cavalier, but bad thing is Song does not have many of them, as he's actually switching into some Knights here. Still in Castle Age, mind you.
Maybe trying to find a counter against the skirmishers. Avalanche's number's not looking too hard for
This
ACM in
is
the center.
this is one of those games where everyone's half dead. Like, everyone's taking losses, everyone's falling behind, and Vietnam B need this if they're going to win this series. They cannot lose here and win this series. It's just not going to be possible. And here comes Song Song with the Conquistadors. He's going for the trebuchets and gets a few of them. Oh, man, there's a lot of Cavalier there for back. There's a lot of Conks, though, and they're microing and microing more. I think the castle goes down for Bad Boy. He needed that castle to stay up.
I think so as well. Now this will be so open. Conquistador still extremely strong and active than the center. Trap gets low, more repair.
No way. The repair. Oh, it's not enough. The castle stays up, but the villagers are still going down. Credit to Backed, man, because he was in an awkward position in this game. He has 42 farmers right now, Nilly. 42 farmers, and he does have villagers mining gold. So he's able to sustain production of Cavalier. And that has made a big difference for his team as ACCM wants to walk forward and build another castle now that there's no trebuchets for Bad Boy.
That's a crazy aggressive castle. And that would also mean like it's so much trickier for Song Song and Bad Boy to combine forces again. Remember, he has bracers, so gets a lot of range, a lot of control of that center area.
Song
This
Song
castle goes up.
losing Vils to Arbs again. ACCM, no stranger of this area. Not the first time he's come in, but this could be a Dowd castle. Feels like ACCM and Backed will be okay with losing a few Vils there because they're still in the better spot when it comes to army comp.
Bad Boy. I didn't see him producing traps for quite some time here. Mainly Arbalest at the moment. And Kongs again trying to come in. It just feels like Backed and ACM stabilizing here, even getting the raids into Bad Boy's base now.
Oh, man, and that switch is going to be so tough for Bad Boy because, I mean, gold has been a bit of an issue because of the raids, but he's been able to deal with Arbalest raids, but Cavalier raids, that could just cripple him. And that switch right there should make the middle so much better for Vietnam A, and here you have it with them pushing forward Vietnam A. They definitely have enough against the Conquistadors now. Conquistadors have felt so underwhelming ever since they've come out. The castle's gone down for Bad Boy, and this might be closer and closer to the end now because Song Song, he has a lot of idols. Bad Boy has 30 idols, and they're losing control of the middle.
And another very aggressive castle there by ACM at the very top now. Really want to clear up those gold spots at the top.
Yeah, right next to the Treb, too. Who cares? They know that Treb's going to go down. More ranges in the middle for ACCM and Vietnam A. Again, I have to say, they were threatened by Vietnam B, just like they were, or at least maybe not threatened in Game 1, but the game was even. But Bad Boy, he's going to be in a spot soon where he has 20, 30 arbs, but he has no villagers. And that's not going to be good enough for him.
Avalanche trying to hold. Conquistadors now being tasked with the defense there. Main TC loss for Bad Boy. Cavaliers even trading off there once they start fighting. And, well, I don't really see options for Vietnam B.
No, I don't see it either. I mean, if there was a restart button on life, then maybe they could restart this game and not pick Spanish. I feel like I'm still rather bummed because I have not seen why Spanish was picked. Not feel like Spanish was a great move. Bad Boy's had an amazing game here with his arbs, but he just hasn't had any knight support. And Backed showing why knights are important. Backed with 46 farmers. And ACCM, so much blue, so many castles in the middle. 4 castles on his own, all in the middle, and you just don't win Golden Pit without gold. There's no way. He'll get shredded.
Oh. Villagers now dying. Another castle there by ACM. And yeah, okay, built it even more aggressively. And I agree, Bad Boy had such a good game. It felt like if it was a 1v1, he probably would have won against Back Team.
I agree. Yeah, it was the fact that it was 2 relatively stable Vietnamese A players against 1 player on Vietnam B. And it doesn't necessarily, like, you might be tempted to say that it was poor play from Song Song, but I think he did the best that he could do with Spanish. Yes, they could have been more coordinated, but there's a reason that Knights and Crossbows work. And there's a reason why we speculated over civs other than Spanish. And especially if you want to win the series, I've always felt like Spanish would work on Arena, which is a home map for Backed and ACCM if they were to even lose. But, oh, man, big surrounds here, Backed with the Cavalier. That's a perfect engagement.
God, that was so good. Bad Boy tried to give the walls there, but didn't really matter. Back-T running in, finding so many kills. In great engagement by him.
Yeah, and even if that's a poor engagement, doesn't matter because they have the gold. They can make more military, and that was the last army that Bad Boy could afford to create. I still feel like these teams are really close. And I'm very happy with the quality that these games have brought us. We've been to the Imperial Age in Game 1 and the Imperial Age in Game 2. And I'm all for variety of strategy, but I think Vietnam, maybe lack of confidence to go Spanish here, Nilly. Like, I really felt like if they went meta, they could have taken the game and beaten ACCM and Backed. They went for this on their home map. What are your overall thoughts on it? Do you think it was worth the risk, or is it easy to say after the fact?
Well, we said it the whole time that this game is probably going to go like this, right? And with China B yesterday, we saw the very forced ram by play with Burmese as well by Tim.
Yeah. Also, I need to give credit to Backed here because he took some losses in this game. He was raided by Conks multiple times. I mean, he's still got random villagers. I see Stonewalls in the northern corner. I guess he was trying to wall them in at some stage. We didn't really look at his eco too much unless he was getting thrashed, and I think he did a much better job of stabilizing and contributing to the team after taking losses than Song Song did here. Song Song is at 88 villagers, but in the time that he was trying to reboom and get back into the game, he wasn't able to help Bad Boy in any of the fights. And some of that does come back to being Conks versus Knights, but still, I got to give credit where it's due there. It wasn't just ACCM carrying. He did need some help.
Do you think, let's take a look, stone for Bad Boy, 2.2k and only 2 castles. So he did roughly 900 stone in repairing in the center there.
Oof.
And do you think Song Song maybe 1TC play and placing the second castle in the pit could have been a way to play?
I think you do that if you don't lose your conks early, right? Because every single conquistador is precious. And he lost Maganels, and he lost conks early. So if you're going with Spanish, you need to keep every Maganel and conquistador alive so you can get to 20, 25, 30 conks with a few mangoes before the enemy's able to have Cavalier and Arbalest. And he probably switched into eco after he realized 1TC play wasn't working. But yeah, in an ideal world, I think you go first castle at home, make a lot of conquistadors, get a lot of upgrades, and then second castle in the middle. But one more thing before we move on here, Nilly. A lot of players in ACCM's position would not go to stone as early as he did. He had 5 villagers on stone after the second TC, immediately after the second TC went up. So his castle was much earlier than castles I've seen from other players. And I think that was good thinking from him. And that also might have been why Song Song was a bit hesitant to go for his own, because the gold was already secured for Vietnam A.
Tricky. And something that we didn't mention was we mentioned earlier that they were lacking archer civs, had to go for Incas, and still converted into victory, which means they still have the strong Chinese for the Ghost Lake.
Yep, that's a very good point. Yeah, and this is so much better for Vietnam A as this series goes on. You know, if they lose this next game, and let's say they go to Arena for their home map, Vietnam A, they don't have to worry about Spanish now, which can be quite strong on that map. Now, there's still Celts out there, and I don't know what other civs they'd be thinking about, but I'm going to knock off the civs here in the draft, and we can speculate what happens next. Nilly, you mentioned earlier how Bad Boy likes his Tatars on the new patch. I just realized that they drafted Tatars here, too. So, I mean, I don't know how long this series is going to go, and I've always did feel like Tatars pre-buff were still decent, but the fact that it's picked there kind of makes me chuckle a bit.
I think they aren't that bad on Golden Pit because it's really tough to break them, engage into the hill.
Yeah.
It is also, you have to remember, there is one civ that you won't play, right?
Yep.
So technically, if you are filled up after your first 10 picks or 11 picks, you just throw one in there.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, the next game's going to be Ghost Lake, It has to be because it's the final home map for
Hype
Vietnam
for
B.
another day of quality World
There are a
Cup
lot of
games.
sheep on Ghost Lake. Do you think that they're tempted to go Tatars because with Tatars your sheep have more food?
The transition, like till late Castle Age, Tatars are really good.
Yeah.
But walls are so easy on Ghost Lake. It's likely that we get to Imp, and not having Arbalest is simply a no-go for a Civ that wants to go for archers.
Yeah, I also feel like there's very little elevation on that map. It's tough, man. There's some players, some teams who see the game in a different way, and whether it's because we have casters brains or meta brains or whatever, we tend to disagree. I don't think that we would have ever recommended going Spanish in the previous game. So uh we'll find
Well,
out soon.
that's the lovely thing, right? Because we most of the time discuss strategies with, let's call them Westerners.
Yeah, yeah.
And then there are the Tims that throw in okay, let's go for a Rembai. I want to play a Rembai. And today, Song, I want to play Conquistadors.
Yep.
And that's why we see so many unconventional games. And that's one of the beauties of this tournament.
Yeah. So many times in Low Elo Legends, I'd have a conversation with people trying to learn and say, if you can avoid it, don't go Mass Stonewall in Feudal Age. Then we get Tim and CL. And CL, with absolute no hesitation, would Stonewall his base in Feudal Age. and I had to take it back and say, you know what? It might not be the worst to send 2 villagers to Stonewall to make sure you're completely safe, especially if you're a noob, and then send 2 villagers to Stone to recover if you have a civ like Slavs that makes up for the lack of a few farmers. So, yeah, but it's so cool to have not even just this tournament, right? Even across 1v1s, uniqueness. And I think Vietnamese players in particular, I know ACCM, he's just in love with Berbers. A lot of other people are not necessarily in love with Berbers. So it's cool. It can be tough for us because we see teams like Vietnam B that have potential if they play the way we envision it, but that's not how it works.
You could also say, just imagine how good Happy could be, or CL could be, if he wasn't doing all the Stonewall.
Yeah, true.
Could he be top 10?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, CL, I love CL and Tim because they do so many lazy little things. They just don't care about
Like
all
not
the...
not using hotkeys.
Yeah, yeah. They just don't care about some of the small things, and that's really funny. You have players like that. You then have players like Huang who are one-trick ponies. I don't know. We're in a unique spot as far as players are concerned.
Yeah. And
All right.
I think we're also in the good spot that there's so many tournaments going on that we don't have to kind of quote unquote have to watch the top 8 play over and over again, right?
Yep, that's true. Yeah, this year I kind of got sick of certain matchups because for those that weren't around until this year, there were tournaments, but they were few and far between. You know, you'd have a tournament, there'd be a month or two break, then another quote unquote big tournament. And so it's just like the amount of times I saw Viper Hera play over the last 12 months is more than I saw Viper Yo play in the previous 4 years. So it's so cool to have these different teams and different names that we don't necessarily see. But Nilly, Ghost Lake coming up. I'm really hoping for Vietnam B that they can get a win because I feel like they have the potential for it. They have Lithuanians and Vikings, so these are what I'd call meta picks for scouts and archers, and then you have Chinese and Huns for Vietnam A.
Yeah, so Persian's probably going to be played on Scandinavia, just like Russia did. Makes lots of sense there. And, well, Lithuanians, with their big bonus getting extra attack if they collect relics for their knights, we should see a lot of castle edge aggression. If you give Vietnam B full map control, it could easily snowball in your face.
Yeah. I love 3 ranges here from both Vikings and Chinese. What's your take on that, Nilly? As we hop into game number 3, what's your take on 3 ranges versus 2 ranges going into Castle Age for the archer role? Because you played the archer role for Germany, and I think you many times went for 3.
This one plays out a bit differently, right? Compared to Arabia. Ghost Lake is so wallable that most of the time we will now see players just playing straight up fast castle, maybe drush fast castle, and you won't be able to afford 3 archery ranges. At least that's what I thought before Dark played it against us. And let's say every sane person won't go for 3 archery ranges, and therefore it takes some time to transition onto these.
Yeah.
Normally, if we go for archers, going to the transition and really pumping up those numbers feels at the moment extremely strong.
Okay, yeah. You and Jordan trained a lot, seemed very coordinated, I think more accustomed to team games than USA team. But my experience when training with Scotty and Daniel is just we're 1v1 players who happen to be playing a team game, right? And so while going 2 ranges, fast ballistics, and a bunch of town centers is kind of more meta for 1v1s, we lost multiple games. In fact, every single game we were ahead of Vietnam B, we ended up losing because of lack of army numbers, whether that be knights or in particular crossbows was the issue. So I feel like 3 ranges seems to be a very safe play, and only the best teams out there are going to be able to get by with 2 and, let's say, 5 to 10 more villagers against that. But largely it does depend, and back to what you mentioned about Ghost Lake. Ghost Lake is different than Arabia because it's more wallable. We have ACCM in the blue. He'll go archer roll for his team. And then we have backed in the green. He's going to be going scouts into knights again. And then Song Song is playing Lithuanians. Expect him to go scouts into knights. And then Bad Boy will go Viking archers.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we see that much scouts into knights, actually.
True.
Because, as we said, this is so wallable, and you see, like, heavy walls already coming up from Song Song. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a lot of skip feudal age.
Look at Bad Boy's base. Look at the fire. Do you see the body? It's burning.
Bad boys.
He lost a villager.
That's
To a
why you
board.
don't run over fire.
Yeah. You have to burn the bodies so the White Walkers don't find them. That is so disappointing, man. Vietnam B, they played so well in this tournament, and they have so much potential. After game 2 and the poor strategy, and now looking at this Borlor and the dead villager, maybe it's just not their day, man. You don't see that very frequently at the high level.
Some sheep laming now happening on either side. ACM versus Bad Boy. Oh, that's a risky boy, but he has loom.
Yeah, has loom. And that puts him down to 13 population, right? Because you lose a vill, and then you also research loom, so your TC is idle. But let's hope Bad Boy can recover. Seeing a lot of dots in the middle. There's a lot of sheep out there. It definitely makes sense to go out there earlier than you normally would to try and get those extra sheep. But back to your point, Nilly, I think the more we see of this map, the more we are going to see teams opt to not make scouts and just wall. And I'm looking at Backed right now. Backed might be tempted to go fast castle here. I know that when we see Norway, MBL's probably not going to make a single scout. MBL's probably going fast castle knights every single time, but... yeah,
or they go
we'll see.
something like Viper goes Cumans, plays the early TC, goes Kip checks, and MBL goes like 9 scouts with bloodlines and just plays the 2v1.
That's true. Yeah, MBL just delays everyone else for the Viper. Okay, so I think you and I share this feeling. I'm a little bummed. I mean, obviously there's Silver League and all that, but I'm a little bummed because I felt like we had some really good strategies that we haven't seen yet on some of these maps from these teams, and now we're not able to show them to people in the Gold League. Like, there's some funky stuff. Maybe we can talk about it off stream because I'm not quite ready to talk about it yet, where I feel like it would work well on this map because of that wall potential.
Oh, okay. Well, I think we will see lots and lots of Cumans there on this map coming up.
Finland A versus Finland B. Who gets Cumans first?
Might just be a ban.
Yeah, might just be a ban, and then who gets Persians first? Who picks Chaos Pit? The Finland matchup later will be really fun to watch. They
want to play Arabia and then 4 Chaos Pit games.
Oh man, Yeah, there's more things. I think that's next, right?
No, I think it's the Finland match is next. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, we'll be casting that together and we can talk about it plenty. All right. Well, looking at the feudal age time, Song, he's going for scouts. Song already with the stable. We'll be making those scouts. You notice Backed. Backed just now on the way to feudal age. This looks very much like a fast castle for Backed. So no scouts. And then ACCM is not fully walled yet. But he's going archers. He'll be walled in the back of his base. He does have some open spots on the front. But, the meta archers for him. And just one range right now.
I'm a bit surprised that ACM didn't feel like his map was good enough to go Forced Castle. Like, gold was in the bag. He could have gone for defensive wood lines. Berries are relatively open, but close to your TC.
I think
Could have been greedier.
you could be greedy here. But what I like about it is if you go one archer range, you can still have some really insane uptimes with Chinese, I feel. Especially with a few extra sheep. If you stick to one range and you don't go two range, you're going to have a lot of farming eco. He just got horse color, so he's going heavy eco approach with some military. What I think might not pay off at all is the fact that Song is making scouts. Because he's not going to break through. And it really bothered me that Song, who still had his starting scout alive, didn't even consider to send the starting scout near ACCM's walls. And Bad Boy was there too. They could have tried to block off those walls for a time.
Something happened.
What?
Song built a front tower before the berries and kind of shift-clicked his villagers back or something. And then there was a stable being built by Baekti over that tower.
What?
And therefore, Song, like before it actually was started, right?
Oh.
So the villagers went back after the tower got kind of denied.
Oh, interesting. So he went to tower the berries, and then the stable was placed over top of that, and then that foundation disappeared. Ah. And he was probably confused by that. Like, why did my building get deleted? Not actually deleted, guys. You still get the resources back, but here we go. What's the proper reaction to this if you're backed? Do you wall it out and abandon the berries, or can you make a spearman or two and rush it down?
I don't think the spearman makes any sense. Like, he will have the tower, he will have the forward villagers. Just get as much out of the berries as you can, then just fall back. You should be fine.
And make some knights, right? You have some sheep still. You can invest in some farms. Oh, he lets the scout out.
If knights will actually do too much. Honestly, I think just adding 2 TCs. Like, do 1-2 knights just to show them on the map, and then just booming.
Just boom.
Everyone is walled. Like, what are you going... What do you need army for?
Yeah, you need knights to take the vills out and clear out this annoying tower, but beyond that, not too much. Archers on the field for Bad Boy. Bad Boy went for 2 archery ranges. And I'm looking at the economies. I'm comparing ACCM's eco to Bad Boy's eco. Yes, it is Vikings, but it does look better for ACCM as far as resources banked with that one range build, Nilly. Actually, he's on 2 now. 400 food in the bank.
Double gate here by Baekti is struggling a bit to rewall that one, not having the chance to build any houses. Didn't feel like a market would be too nice, and that could be problematic. His boom won't be great.
Yeah, exactly. And this is exactly what you'd want as a villager goes down. This is what you'd want if you're Vietnam B to punish the lack of army. And actually, the gate's going to go down. The units can run right through here. And Backed is not in a free boom position. Really needs some knights. It didn't have loom that entire time.
Oh, that makes sense then why the villagers went down so quickly. And now the scouts are moving in. Archers will find another kill. Villagers want to fight.
Oh, no way. More villagers going down. Loom taking some time here. And Backed tossing away so many vills because of the lack of loom of all things. That's maximum greed. We mentioned MBL. That's MBL level delaying loom greed. My goodness.
Oh god. Well, MBL had to get loom because he's already sent 2 villagers across the map to lame other wars.
Yeah, he thought ahead about that one. And I guess what could be good for Vietnam is they still were going to have better castle age times. Now Bad Boy's going to lose some archers. And there's still 5 forward villagers for Song. They have no protection from knights and archers. So you lose 2, 3. I actually think it was 4, if I recall. And then you kill 5. And you're in castle age faster. It could be worse for Vietnam A.
Well, he doesn't know about the tower yet, so I don't think the tower will go down necessarily, and the villagers with it.
Yeah, are there walls at home for Song Song? There better be. Yep. This is a pretty easy base to wall, actually. Black golds, back stones, knights and archers coming that direction, and the tower goes up. Bact has to react to that, and Bact is not really having a fun time as he sends villagers after the forward tower now.
Trying to knock down the stable there at the front. Army shouldn't be that crazy. Interesting that Bad Boy does not go over there to help. Tries to make a counterattack happen. I would be surprised if he finds too much damage.
If Bad Boy had a better Dark Age and Feudal Age, I'd be feeling really good for Vietnam B. He still hasn't clicked up. Compare that to ACCM, who has one more archer, and ACCM is 40% of the way to Castle Age.
The same amount of villagers. That is so weird.
And Song Song, he doesn't have any army momentum. He has the stone wall behind here, which is the correct play. He's going to lose the stable. I think it might even be before Bloodlines completes. So help was needed. But then again, Bad Boy, he snipes 2 villagers on ACCM's woodline. Well played. And the villagers for Song Song are building a forward blacksmith. So they're still doing something.
Interesting. Okay, and now the question forward. Oh, yeah, interesting one. I don't like that he actually rewalled with a stable there. I think full stone wall might have been the way. Stable now gives a nice angle of attack.
Yeah, and that's another production building he needs. Yeah, this is all because the lack of army momentum. What happens when you go scouts into towers and then enemies in Castle Age faster, and that stable will go down so quick. I don't think the stable stops that from going down. Illy, if this army gets in, Song Song will be dead.
Oh, 2 villagers already down here. Pulls massive amount to repair, but enough archers behind this one. 3rd villager down. Some random gauge won't do the job.
Oh, man, I'm shaking my head here. I feel so bad for Vietnam B. Oh, man, they were so close. Like, the games were so good in Game 1. Game 2 was also so competitive, and Vietnam A showing why they are Vietnam A. Bad Boy still not in Castle Age, and it might be too little too late when he gets there. This is a slaughter.
Oh man, you really have to ask yourself, how did Vietnam B make it out of their group?
Well, we helped a little bit. I maintain, all right, that Vietnam B did not have their day today, and I'm not saying that to make my, USA or Czech B look better. They took some solid wins against Norway, and they really are a good team. But I don't know, Nilly. Does this look like a team that's just not really set out for really important stages of tournaments just yet?
I don't know. It could be nerves. Honestly, like ACM and Bacteria, they're kind of like, I don't want to say national heroes, but
yeah.
they are the big names in Vietnam, right? And then you're facing them on the big stage, trained so much against them, probably lost most of the practice games. And, well, this wasn't their day.
Well, when I looked at the 10 or so games that they played, it was 50-50 with the practice games. Like, we're talking post-imp games with trade. Like, I was downloading Rex and fast forwarding through them all. I was doing homework on them. And so they were actually trading pretty evenly with ACCM and Bact on open maps. But I think back to game 2 here, you have Spanish, you pick it on Golden Pit, one of your home maps. That's low confidence for me. I think it's low confidence. I know that Vietnam B were not favored to win here. I wasn't even expecting them to, but I thought they maybe could get a win or two. And a lot of the decisions that they made in this series seemed shaky to me compared to when they were the favored team going into a set. And I think we've all been there where it's so easy to do the right thing if you're the better player or you're the better team. But what's not easy is to do all the right thing and make all the right decisions when you're not the better team. And ACCM and Bact, they move on. They will represent Vietnam. And I'm looking forward to them going into the later stages of the tournament because many people forget they were 3rd place in 2018 in this tournament.
I think they're facing Brazil A next, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be a banger.
Who do you think wins that one?
I did predict Brazil A.
Okay. I speak pretty frequently to Miguel, so I know their confidence levels and all that. I agree. I think it's going to be an epic set of games. They did face. I might be wrong on this, but I think they faced off against each other in 2018 2v2 World Cup, and I think Brazil A won 3-2 or 3-1 there. Also, I
think
recall a set in Battle of Africa, but that was 3v3.
I think like that was different civilizations,
Different time, yeah.
different time. Like players completely changed the level over the last 2 years, right? People now ACM full time, for example, and remember the huge difference in prize pool. But we're fighting over $30,000 this time. How much was it in 2018?
$1,300, and it was all crowdfunded by the community.
Yeah, so different times.
So to give you an idea of how serious the Brazilians have been taking this, I had Dogal texting me on WhatsApp like 4 weeks before the tournament because he heard it was coming, and he's like, I need to know the dates so we can start practicing. I need to know the maps, and he's like, I want to make sure I'm around. And yeah, so they were thinking about this before it was even announced publicly. So anyways,